You're watching Left, Right and Centre. I'm Ankita Mukherjee. The big story today, a protest march against the citizenship law held by students of Jamia Millia Islamia in South Delhi, ending in violence, turning a posh South Delhi colony, the New Friends colony, into a veritable war zone. At least 3 buses and more than 100 two-wheelers were set ablaze. There was lathi charge and tear gas as the police was seen chasing protesters through the streets. Between 50 and 100 Jamia students who had earlier distanced themselves from the violence have now been detained. Senior officers of the Delhi police have privately admitted local thugs hijacked the march, setting vehicles ablaze and throwing stones at policemen when they tried to stop them from marching. 2 firemen and at least 1 policeman has been severely injured, a fire engine damaged in the protests. Metro operations on the city's Magenta line have been affected. Hours into the violence, Delhi police were seen rounding up students, one of whom spoke to NDTV and said she had been forcibly taken from a library located inside the Jamia Millia campus. The university also saying that the police forcibly entered the campus without permission and assaulted students.
According to police officials, these students were part of the protest. But
we were just part of the protest. Actually, we were hiding in the library because police were beating us all, and it's really terrifying what they are doing to us. It's like they are asking us to keep our hands up. We are not criminals.
But were you part of the protesting?
We were not. We were in the library and we were inside the campus. And police is inside the campus right now, and we did nothing. We were in the library and the police they are asking us to keep our hands on. We are not criminals, we are students.
Arvind joins us live now from the Jamia Millia Islamia campus. Arvind, give us a sense of exactly what's happening right now. Obviously, we're hearing very many different versions of exactly what went down as we see those very disturbing visuals. But do you have the police, in fact, with you? Can you get us a sense of what's going on right now?
Yeah, Ankita, we have Chinmay Biswal, who is the DCP of Southeast Delhi with us. In fact, he was leading this particular force to control the protesters. So he is with us. Let's ask him. Sir, has the situation come under control now?
It has come under control, yes. The violent protesters, they have been pushed back to a great extent. And the situation is under control.
But could you please give us a number of students or also protesters who have been detained by police?
See, you have to understand the entire gamut of the situation. What actually happened? It was we can't say whether it was a mob of students or the locals. We don't know. It was a mob of thousands, more than 1,500 to 2,000. The mob was there, and whenever they were stopped from going towards the ring road and do traffic jam, then they were stopped also at the barricade in New Friends Colony area. And then they went towards the ring road, and then they burnt the DTC buses, the public transport buses. They have burnt, they damaged, and from there they were asked to be in order to disperse them. Then we had to push them, and they then started pelting stones and bottles filled with oils, and maybe we don't know. And that went on. They were not peacefully. They were not dispersing at all peacefully. They were being very, very aggressive and violent, and they have been pushed to the Jamia Nagar area from where they had originated.
Also, a student who was paraded outside the Jamia University, when we asked her, she told us that police actually entered inside the campus. They even came inside the library and they started rounding up the students.
See, when we were pushing a violent mob who were pelting stones on us, and they were retreating, they were also going inside the university. The university is on the both sides of the road. It is a public road. And they were entering the university gates, and it is all darkness and lawns and jungles. And from there, they also started throwing stones at us. So we were checking from where these activities of violence are taking place.
Also, Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, he said that it was Delhi police who actually started destroying the public property. It was them who actually set buses and other public property on fire.
Well, nothing can be farther from the truth.
Thank you, sir.
Could quickly ask him another question about whether the police in fact had permission to enter the university campus, because university authorities are saying that no such permission was given.
Yeah, Ankita, in fact, we asked that question even before when he met media. We asked him whether Delhi police was actually called by the Jamia administration, because Jamia VC is saying that she did not call the police inside. So when we asked him who ordered Delhi police to actually enter inside Jamia University, for which he said that there is no bar from police to enter any place in this country, because under law they are entitled to go inside any place to maintain law and order. So as per the legal provision, they have gone inside, so they don't have to get any permission from anyone. That's what he told us before when we asked him that question, Ankita.
All right, Arvind, do stay with us. I believe, in fact, the chief proctor of Jamia has also gone on record to say that the police entered the campus by force. And if we can get that graphic up, he says no permission was in fact given. Our staff and students were being beaten up and forced to leave the campus. So that, of course, is what the university authorities are saying. And we just heard the DCP there, Chinmay Biswas, say that at this point, there is no confirmation or clarification on whether the violence was actually initiated by the students or by a mob which wasn't necessarily Jamia students but other people. Yet, what we can report at this point is that the police entered the Jamia campus and has rounded up several students. Now, there's been a political angle to all of this. The BJP's Manoj Tiwari, in fact, tweeting, and if we can get that tweet up, and there you see it, those visuals of students actually being forced to leave their campus with their hands above their heads. So a lot of questions will need to be asked about those visuals we just saw. Manoj Tiwari saying, accusing the AAP of being behind the violence, of stoking the violence. The BJP has in fact singled out Amanatullah Khan, Aam Aadmi Party MLA, and he has now issued a denial as well. Let's listen.
आज अभी एक टीवी में खबर चल रही है कि अमानतुल्लाह की अगुवाई में कुछ बस न्यू फ्रेंड्स कॉलोनी के अंदर कुछ बसों को जला दिया गया। मैं एक शाहीन बाग में जो सरिता बिहार से यानी कि कालिंदी कुंज से नोएडा की तरफ रोड जाता है, उस रोड पर एक मुजाहिरा हुआ। उस मुजाहिरे में मौजूद था, जहां मैं मौजूद था वहां किसी किस्म की कोई आगजनी की खबर नहीं है और ये इल्ज़ाम सरासर गलत है कि मेरी अगुवाई में बसों को जलाया गया।
Well, that's as far as Delhi is concerned. Lots of other developments on the Citizenship Act and protests across the country. The Northeast saw fairly peaceful protests today, but there was once again some roadblocks and some arson reported from Bengal, where mobile internet has now been suspended in 4 districts. But interestingly, on the campaign trail in Jharkhand, the Prime Minister made some very, very controversial comments. And he congratulated the people of Assam for staying away from violence, and also said you can easily make out who's spreading violence by the clothes they wear.
भारत की दोनों सदनों ने भारी बहुमत से इन गरीबों के लिए निर्णय किया, नागरिकता का निर्णय किया। लेकिन ये कांग्रेस वाले और उसके साथी क्या कर रहे हैं? हो हल्ला मचा रहे हैं, तूफान खड़ा कर रहे हैं और उनकी बात चलती नहीं है तो आगजनी फैला रहे हैं। भाइयों बहनों, ये जो आग लगा रहे हैं, टीवी पे उनके जो दृश्य आ रहे हैं, ये आग लगाने वाले कौन है वो उनके कपड़ों से ही पता चल जाता है। देश का मान सम्मान बढ़े, ऐसा व्यवहार आसाम नॉर्थ ईस्ट कर रहा है। अपना गीला शिकवा भी बता रहा है। यही तो लोकतंत्र है।
Let's take this right across to our panel at this point. Deshrata Nigam, political analyst and RSS supporter, with us tonight. Senior journalist Saban Naqvi is with us. Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst, is with us. Shoaib Danial, assistant editor of Scroll.in, also with us tonight, as is Pawan Verma of the Janata Dal United. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. Indeed. But let's begin, Saban Naqvi, with you. You know, obviously, violence and arson is unacceptable But at this point, we do not know conclusively, and we just heard the DCP of South Delhi also saying that, Southeast Delhi saying that we do not know whether it was the students who were responsible, whether it was a local mob. There are conflicting and unverified reports of what exactly happened. The big question right now, should the police have been inside the Jamia campus, doubling down on students in the way that we saw?
So, Ankita, my response would be unfortunate right now is that we have seen a lot of tension on various campuses, but the treatment meted out to the Jamia students has been actually quite unique. They have been thrashed, they have been beaten. We have got videos which you have not played of students lying in the toilet with blood. We have heard, I have seen video footage from students themselves of shots, apparently. I don't know whether there's some other kind of ammunition, tear gas makes that sound or what, I don't know. A special treatment has been meted out to the students of this particular university. JNU has been in the firing line. I must say, unfortunately, I am one of those who's beginning to say there is a special treatment meted out to anything to do with Muslims. That is what it's all about. These students have been beaten on a scale, and this started day before yesterday, and Holy Family Hospital has been treating them. And now this didn't even happen to the JNU students on the scale in which it's happening to Jamia. JNU, that den of anti-nationals, so-called, as was presented in Fellow Chan. But this is now, and the students have been brought out. It's eerily similar to the way Kashmiris have been encircled and brought out, the way they're being made to walk around there. So that is what it's all about. We are going at various stages of this complete marginalization, brutalization of Muslims, and now the campaign from tomorrow, when the regular channel time begins, is going to be these Muslims created so much trouble. They asked for it. It's almost, one can almost predict it coming.
Right.
So it's part of that, because the video footage is actually quite horrific.
All right, Sabah, I will make this point that we are only putting out visuals that we can verify at this point. And indeed, there are a lot of videos floating out there, but it will be important at this point, given the sensitivity of the entire situation, to be as circumspect as we possibly can. And indeed, whatever is verified by us, we will show on air. But Pawan Verma, I'd like to ask you, the point that Sabah Naqvi makes may well be a valid one. When we see these images of angry people, particularly images that seem to suggest angry people of one community out on the streets, and then there is also reports of arson, reports of damage and vandalism. Does this just underscore this air of crisis and in a way justify further crackdowns?
Well, Ankita, let me say first, I would condemn any vandalization of public property. There is ground, there is justification for peaceful protest. Non-cooperation in the best traditions of the Gandhian legacy. But deliberate vandalization of public property is wrong. Equally, the excesses of the police are wrong. The manner in which they have entered the campus forcefully, and the kind of excessive force being used against students is wrong. We need to condemn it. But this being said, I want to say that the larger discontent and disquiet in the country is because the BJP is obsessed with an agenda which is divisive, which believes in divide and rule, which wants to sow discord in society, which wants to create acrimony and division with the sole purposes of consolidating electoral dividends. But I want to say that the people of India are against this kind of agenda. The economy is in shambles. Jobs are unavailable. We have a situation where there is rampant agrarian distress. There are other priorities to deal with. But the only priority that this government seems to give any emphasis on is this agenda in which the Citizenship Amendment Act and the NRC are the central point by which there will be endemic, and I want to make this point, I am not fear-mongering, there will be endemic turmoil, unrest and instability and possibly violence which we condemn, and no one, not Hindus, not Muslims, will be left immune from this, because India is a composite country. People of different faiths live together. We have given respect to them over the centuries. We are India because we give respect to all faiths.
Fair enough, Mr. Verma.
We reject the divide
Yes.
and rule approach.
Okay. I want Deshata
So
Nigam.
therefore, no one will be immune.
Yes. Okay, no one will be immune, says Pawan Verma. Deshata Nigam, very, very serious points being raised as we discuss these visuals that have happened, not anywhere else, but right here in the heart of the national capital today. First violence, and there are a lot of reports floating around about how the violence started, how it escalated, pictures that are now doing the rounds that seem to suggest an alternative narrative altogether about who was behind the arson. Without going into the rumor or the speculation right now, what we do know for sure is there has been a very brutal crackdown on a university campus where the police shouldn't even have entered without permission from university authorities, which they didn't have. Your comments specifically to that before we go into the larger point that our panelists are making.
Before that, let me condemn the communal remarks of Sabar Naqvi and also fear-mongering of Mr. Pawan Verma, although he says he's not doing it, but the entire, his line of thinking and the statement reflected that. Now, let me come to the Jamia issue. Yes, when there is a large-scale arson and violence and the buses are being, burnt, it is the duty of the police to restore peace and order in the society. When the people who were actually creating violence were moving inside the university, there is no law that stops them to apprehend them. Yes, in a peaceful times, in a situation, normal times, they have to seek permission. But
reflect on those visuals we're seeing on our screens right now, Deshata Nigam. Students being forcibly taken out of their campus with their hands above their heads.
I have seen that. Yes, what happens inside is they have evacuated it, and there is a possibility that among these people there could be some fear,
among these people, but we also heard the police, the DCP
can I
of
finish?
Southeast Delhi say that there was no confirmation.
Can I finish my argument
Please
before
go
you
ahead,
interrupt?
Sir.
And those people, there could be some miscreants among these students. Therefore, it is a simple standard operating procedure. You ask people to raise your hand so that you don't take out your weapons and things like that, if there are miscreants among them. Yes, in an emergency situation, they can enter university. And initially, you shown certain, visuals where on the pillar of it was written, Islam hi rahega. Probably nobody noticed. So another angle has been given. Now, Citizenship Amendment Act does not affect the citizens of this country. If these people are protesting, the citizens of this country, yes, they have a right for peaceful protest. But who are these people actually protesting? Were their movement hijacked by people from other areas? This is a sensitive area. The Jamia Nagar area, all these areas are slightly sensitive otherwise also. We know as a Delhi resident. But right now, police has done its duty. If there are excesses, yes, it can be scrutinized, but the fact remains that the students were protesting. We do not know as of now who were these people. Police actually, they were moving inside the university, as everybody is saying. There were miscreants also. There could be peaceful students also. There could be possibility of students also involved right now. So these are precautionary measures which have been taken by the police. Yes, students who indulge in violence have to be dealt with strongly.
Precautionary measures.
And let me tell you, JNU students did not burn buses.
Okay, we don't know that Jamia students burnt buses either, Mr. Nigam, at this point. So I think we should all be careful about what we say. Tehseen Poonawala, you had a point to make.
Yes, Ankita, first of all, thank you so much for having me on the show. This is a very important topic, and I'd just like to throw some light on some things. I want to first take you to Assam before we come to Delhi. If Citizenship Amendment Bill is against one religion or one community, as Mr. Nigam sort of tried to say, Islam, Khatre mein, whatever, or Islami Rahega on the pillar, etc., why is Assam and the entire Northeast burning? You have Shoaib here on your panel. He will tell you more about Northeast. Why is there today a curfew? Why is internet suspended? Why were 7 people martyred in Assam? That's the question that we need to answer. This bill is against the constitution of this country, which is why I've moved Supreme Court. Now I want to make a larger point to you. Look, Ankita, the fact of the matter is that we understand that there was been some sort of the protest from the students, and I've been in touch with these students. I know these students was very peaceful. How suddenly did the bus catch fire? Let's ask some logical, basic questions. It's an investigative journalism. Were those students carrying petrol? No, they weren't. How do students get hands on petrols and cans? Who had cans? Let's put those visuals out. There's CCTV everywhere. Who is the only one where videos on WhatsApps have come? Having cans.
I would say to you at this point, before we speculate on air, there might be explanations that we don't know. Without investigation, it would be.
That is true.
It would be unfair to go into those visuals that you talk about.
Absolutely. If it is unfair to go into those visuals, then by that same logic, Ankita, these students are also innocent until proven guilty. Why then did the police force use such brutal mechanism on those students? That is a question to be asked. Whether somebody has passed away or no, the fact of the matter is number of students are today in hospital. That is confirmed news. Did that require that sort of violence? That's the first question. I'm not getting into the Hindu-Muslim issue. There's a second very pertinent question I want to ask. The Citizenship Amendment Bill, you say, does not affect Indian Muslims. But when the Home Minister of the country, and my Home Minister and your Home Minister, Ankita, says in Bengal, and I quote him, the Citizenship Amendment Bill will be implemented first so that I can implement the NRC, thereby protecting you who do not come in Citizenship Amendment Bill. That is a clear-cut call by the Home Minister, who's called migrants as termites, to exclude a sizable population of the country. There is the Home Minister on record saying it. Mr. Pawan Verma will confirm it, Sabha will confirm it, and Shoaib will confirm it. So what is going on? You cannot separate the two. You've put an entire community, an entire peoples under threat by saying we are doing CAB so that we can bring in NRC. Either I am lying or the Home Minister is lying. Let's have a clarification on this.
Okay.
That is the root cause.
I need to answer.
Yeah. We'll come to you in a moment. I believe Pawan Verma also had something to add to that, and then I'll come to you for a response, Mr. Nigam.
I just want to say that let's not get into this Hindu-Muslim divide. The government is mistaken. I repeat, it is mistaken if it believes that it is creating this rampant divisiveness in society in the interests of Hindus. They are wrong. They are not doing that at all. They are working against the Hindus. I am a proud Hindu. They are working against the intricately fragile fabric of India, tramping on it. They are walking all over it, in which people of different faiths have lived in peace and in harmony. You cannot have economic growth if there is social instability. But the government seems to believe that by acting in this manner, supposedly in the interests of Hindus, what do Hindus want? They want peace and harmony to get on with their lives. Right. Yes, we don't want appeasement, but we want stability and peace.
Okay.
They are creating an unrest in society just purely for the possibility of political dividends.
Okay. Shoaib Danial, very quickly, what should we make of the Prime Minister when he said in Jharkhand today, you know from their clothes who is protesting?
Exactly. This is something that also Mr. Poonawalla said when Mr. Nigam said that the CAB has got nothing to do with internal politics, got to do with internal citizens. That is completely incorrect. It's contradicted not only by what Mr. Amit Shah said, as Mr. Poonawalla just described to us earlier, but it's also contradicted by what the Prime Minister said in Jharkhand today. He's using the CAB right now as a dog whistle, and we all know what that means, the clothes that people wear. It's being directly used to target Muslims. It's being used to corner Muslims. And let us just zoom out from these protests for a bit, and let us remember that this was warned. We were warned that if we tampered with India's secular fabric, bad things would happen to our country, right? Secularism is something that keeps India how it is. It's been keeping India together for the last 70 years, and right now, this is something that I would call an engineered. This is engineered chaos, right? The CAB was linked to the NRC repeatedly by the Union Home Minister, and it was sort of made clear that the NRC, as a result of the CAB, would only target Muslims. As a result of this, this spread anxiety bordering on panic amongst Muslim communities. And right now, what you heard the Prime Minister say today only exacerbates that, to sort of victimize, to sort of bring out only
fair enough.
Muslims.
I'm completely out of time, but Deshantan Nikam, I need you to comment. I need you to comment because, we've all been left wondering exactly what the Prime Minister meant by those comments. Perhaps you could shed some light.
Let me tell you, when the Citizenship Amendment Act does not affect Indian Muslims or the citizens of this country, the only people seem to be, having problems with the illegal Muslim immigrants, which is very clear of the fact because they seems to be slightly worried. And that is where I think the Prime Minister was hinting at. And this is a very limited law with a very narrow objective of giving citizenship to the persecuted minorities of those three countries. Nothing less, nothing more. Other Muslims can come through other provisions of Citizenship Amendment Act. Therefore, those people who are spreading fear-mongering, making communal remarks have to be very, very careful. Let's not do that. Muslims in India, Indian citizens have nothing to fear about, and anybody who's trying to on this panel or otherwise is fear-mongering and spreading communalism.
The very points that you make, and we completely take the importance of what you're saying, but the questions are now being raised about the very comments made by the Prime Minister today and whether those were communal.
Yes, he was probably referring to illegal immigrants of a particular community, yes. Probably, that's my understanding.
Yeah, Tehseen, very quickly, I am totally out of time.
There you have it.
But
that's not
anybody
communal.
on this panel,
Anyone pointing it out is communal. That's not communal.
Who benefits from Hindu-Muslim? Anybody on this panel? Who tends to gain from Hindu-Muslim riots? Who tends to gain? Like Mr. Pawan Verma said, the economy is not being debated on NDTV, but this is being debated. Who tends to gain if you're not questioning the government on economy? Who tends to gain? It is Mr. Narendra Modi. Therefore, like Mr. Nikam is right, is wrongly targeting Sabha by saying Sabha is communal.
Okay.
But the comment he's taking is actually the communal comment.
Okay, I'm going to
call out the cat to him. He's look, you're being communal. You cannot get away doing that.
Right. All right. I have to interrupt you there for a moment because we are now also getting reports of violence on the Aligarh Muslim University campus, and those visuals on your screen are of precisely that. You see the police in riot gear, and there is some stone throwing happening, and in fact we're seeing the police ready at least with tear gas shells as well, and yes, some firing as well at this point. So this is going to be a developing story that we will continue to track. It isn't just Jamia Millia Islamia anymore, but also reports coming in from AMU, visuals coming in from AMU. So we will be tracking this story on what appears to be a long night ahead at this point. Violence and arson, of course, unacceptable, and we cannot underscore that enough. At this point, though, very little known about just who started it. In Delhi, was the police response then justified of entering a campus without permission and forcibly hauling out students? We'll continue to track this story very closely. Thank you for watching Left, Right and Centre tonight.